and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian, and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Central Europe here in Hungary. I hope everybody is having a great start to 2021 and having a good week so far. Hi Bhupinder, Murugesan, Mayur, Shahazaib. Nice to see many students and welcome members. Amrita, Sammy, good to see members in the class. Today, students, we are looking at IELTS Speaking Part 1. We're doing some practice for Speaking Part 1. I will give you some strategies on what you should do so that you can aim for that Band 9 score. Again, this lesson, as usual, is presented to you by aehelp.com. For academic IELTS success, visit us there. For the general IELTS, check us out at IELTShelp.com. On both of our websites, we have lots and lots of videos in HD, pre-recorded videos, as well as help for the speaking writing sections, a fully interactive course, and original practice exams. We are world leaders in IELTS preparation. This is our academic website here with the blue background. You can click that big red button to join our premium package. And this is our general IELTS web portal here with the green background. Click that big red button to join the premium package there. It's worth spending a few dollars to maximize your scores and save yourself a lot of headache. We are British Council IELTS Test Registration Center for Saudi Arabia, and we have certified British Council agents. So if you have questions, you can ask us through the website. Also, students, you can practice your speaking with other IELTS students for free on our website. I will quickly show you that since we're in a speaking class. So you can try our materials for free with the green button as well. And then when you sign up, you'll get a My Student account with lots of goodies in the paid and in the free version. And then in your My Student account, you have lots and lots of materials, practice exams. You get a tour to start you off. And then you have this button here called Student Partner Speaking. Okay? When you click on that Student Partner Speaking button, you will open up another window. And in that window, you have a live speaking with other students. And you usually will find at least a few students in here. Right now, we have Anna, Akshay, and Gurnur in here waiting for somebody to audio, video chat, or you can even text chat. Just kind of like Skype or WhatsApp, but of course it's IELTS students, and you can find questions in here for the IELTS exam as well. Here they are. You just need to click on one of these, whether you want to discuss objects or people. So make sure to use that. Who uses that? Any of our viewers today use that function on the website, the free speaking partner function? It's on both the general IELTS and the academic version of our websites. Anybody uses that? That was a question. I know I'm talking a lot, but sometimes I stop to ask you a question. If you don't use it, I highly, highly recommend it. Okay. Sammy says yes. The trick is to keep the page open, okay, and then wait for somebody to ping you, and then chime in and start using it. Okay. Kemraj says I use it. Ferdovs uses it. Good. Amrita, definitely start using it. Okay. Okay, Happy Balasi says, yes, I use it. Fantastic, good. So many of you use it. That's great because practice makes perfect, and I can teach you all the strategies in the world for that Band 9, but at the end of the day, nothing will get you closer to a Band 9 than regular practice, okay? Himanshu, good on you. If anybody has questions, just send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com, whether it's a technical question about English or IELTS. No worries, just send it to me. Okay. You can get our exam books from Amazon, A Helps Academic IELTS, G Helps General IELTS, and we have a full roster of classes this week from the 6th until the 9th. That's our usual schedule, Wednesday to Saturday. So right now, as I said, speaking part 1. And then tomorrow we'll have some reading for members. We'll kick off some listening part 1 and 2 practice for everyone. And then we'll have more speaking, more listening. And members, we will have a Q&A, question and answer session for you on Saturday, followed by speaking part 3 for everyone. So members, write down those questions during your studies so you can ask me on Saturday. Okay, so let's warm up our speaking muscles of our brain, our tongue, our mouth, and we'll do that with some warm-up questions that you get asked in the IELTS exam. Always practice these, never get bored of them. When you hear your examiner ask you these questions during your IELTS exam, feel like it's the first time, be really excited to tell your name, to let them know why you're taking the test. And for sure, when you're practicing with me today, make sure to speak and repeat, okay? So copy my intonation, my pronunciation, my pacing. I'm speaking to you in a very natural way. I'm enunciating my words. I'm speaking as a presenter, of course. And that's a very good way to speak when you are in the IELTS exam. You want to speak kind of like a presenter. So as if you're presenting to a class. Here you're presenting to one examiner. You're presenting your maximum English ability, okay? All right. So when you walk into your IELTS exam, you want to be confident. Make sure you get there early. Go to the washroom before you go into the test. Drink some water before you go in. Wet that whistle. And then the examiner will greet you. They'll say, "Hi, welcome to the speaking portion of the exam. Please take your seat." And one of the first questions for sure will be, "May I see your identification?" They want to match your identity to your identification, so they will ask you to see your identification at the very beginning. If you don't have it, they can't continue the test. It's the protocol, okay? So Surya says, "Yes, certainly, here's my ID that I used to register for the exam." Very nice. Surya, did you see that speed? That's what you want to master. So yes, certainly, here's my ID that I used to register for the exam. Marasa, good to see you in the class. Longtime student of mine. Marasa says, "Definitely, sir, this is my passport. Please have a look." Okay, very nice and polite, Marasa. Murugesan says, "Here's my passport I used to register for the exam." Okay, Murugesan, watch your spelling. Otherwise, good. Jainiel says, "Yes, of course. Here it is. Please have a look. Can you properly see it?" Okay, I like it, Jainiel. You're, well, I guess if you have an ID that's quite worn or used, that might be a question you will ask, Jainiel, is can you see it? It's quite used, and some of the letters may be a little bit smudged, but hopefully it's legible. Okay, legible means that the examiner can read it. Arda says, "Definitely, here's my ID that I used to register for the exam. Please have a look." Okay. All right. Yeah, you can, I mean, if your ID is a little bit difficult to figure out, you can ask them if they need clarification, I suppose. Okay, so yes, certainly. Here's my passport. Please take a look. Some of the information is in Hindi, so if you need some clarification, just ask. I'm happy to oblige. Okay. Yeah, you might say something like that. Okay. There's a lot of different types of IDs out there around the world, and maybe yours might be a little bit tricky to figure out. I don't think that will be the case. I mean, the examiner is trained to recognize your ID, but let's say you're taking the exam in the UK and you have a foreign passport that's difficult to figure out. Yeah, you might say that to be polite, sure. Okay, so here is the question, repeat after me. "May I see your identification?" "Yes, certainly. Here's my passport. Please take a look." Some of the information is in Hindi, so if you need some clarification, just ask. I'm happy to oblige. Okay? Oblige means to agree to help. Okay, I'm happy to oblige. It's a nice word to know. All right, and then of course, while they have your ID, usually they will ask for your name. Now, with the COVID, they do it a little bit differently. Sometimes they get you to hold up your ID and so on, so be ready for different types of protocol. But regardless, they will definitely check and match your ID, and then they will ask you for your name, your full name. That name has to be the same name that's on your ID, okay? Also, especially if you have a difficult name, the examiner might ask you, and what should I call you? Okay, because they prefer to call you what you want to be called, okay, by your nickname or by a short version of your name. So you should just include that information. If you have a nickname or a short version of your name that people commonly refer to you as, then just use that name. Okay, so, but give your name that's on the passport first and give it in the same order as on the passport. Hopefully that's clear for everyone. All right. Happy Balashi says, my full name is Harpreet Singh, but you should call me by my nickname, Happy. Not should call me Happy, but just please call me. It's much more polite, okay? So my full name is Harpreet Singh, but please call me by my nickname, Happy. Okay. Stuti Shri says, just retracted. I can't see what you said, Stuti, but that's okay. Sammy says, my surname is Pulivarthi and my full name is Shiva Shankar. Please call me by my nickname, Sammy. Okay, Sammy, that's great. Yeah, so that's a very common kind of tricky name where your nickname is much, much easier to say. Lei Zhang says, my name is Nodirbek. My family name is Sultan Muradov. Please call me just by my Western nickname, Ray. Okay, great, that works, sure. Bakrat Sharma says, my first name is Bakrat and last name is Sharma. Just call me by my first name, please. Bakrat. Usually we repeat what our first name is, Bakrat. Okay, so makes it a little bit easier. Shehruz Bazirov says, my full name is Shehruz Bazirov, but please call me just Shehruz. Okay, sure, that works. All right. Stuti says, my given name is Stuti Shri. You can just call me by my first name, Stuti. No, Stuti, you need to say my full name is Stuti Shri. You can call me just by my first name, Stuti. Yeah, so you can say something like, my full name is Alexander Joseph Smith. Just going with anything here. Okay, so my full name is Alexander Joseph Smith, as you will see in my passport. Please just call me by my first name, Alexander. Okay, so here we go. Repeat after me. What is your full name? My full name is Alexander Joseph Smith, as you will see in my passport. Please just call me by my first name, Alexander. Okay, Alexander. What do you do in your free time? What do you do in your free time? What do you do in your spare time? What do you do to relax? These are very common questions. So make sure that you are well practiced and you can answer these in natural ways that are original, okay? All right. An says, in my spare time, I frequently either play piano, guitar, or hang out with my friends at the mall. These activities really help me unwind and release from my daily stress. Yesterday, I played a song, okay? I played Beethoven's Fifth. Okay, perfect. Yeah, that works. Okay. Gopi says, I usually prefer to either swim if I'm feeling energetic or read books if I want to relax. Both of these activities help help me to not only strengthen myself physically, but also mentally. In fact, I just swam for an hour yesterday. Gopi, notice how I gave a full answer, okay? You're giving just a simple answer. I usually prefer to swim and read books. It's okay. It's quite short. And yes, IELTS examiners want you to answer the question specifically and don't want you to ramble. Ramble means just talking about the moon and the stars and everything that's in between. No, don't do that, but also express your fluency, grammatical range, and vocabulary, okay? So what do you do in your free time? In my spare time, I either go for an 8K run if I feel energetic, or I curl up with a good book on the couch if I'm feeling a bit exhausted, and read for an hour or so. These activities help me to develop both physically and mentally. Just yesterday, I went for a great run. Okay. So here's my full sentence answer. Notice all of the elements in this response. So even though it's just the beginning, okay, and technically the examiner is not marking you on this question yet, technically, but theoretically they are, because already they're listening for your fluency, your pronunciation, your grammatical range. So here, I'm making sure to remind myself at this point, in the very beginning, I'm reminding myself to be fluent, okay? So I'm using these icebreaker questions to remind myself to be fluent, to show grammatical range and lexical resource, to give answers plus explanations plus examples, to include both qualitative and quantitative information. Okay, quantitative meaning numbers. All right. And it's a good place to do that, all right? So going off topic and rambling is different than giving a complete answer, okay, with explanation and smooth example, all right? Short answers, you got to be really careful, because if you're continuously just giving very brief answers, the examiner simply will not be able to judge your lexical resource and your grammatical range at a high level. So you have to be really, really careful about that, okay? So I'm using this question here, what do you do in your free time? Because I've practiced it often to remind myself that I'm using complex grammar, either or, so it's a correlative conjunction, either this or that. I'm giving quantitative information, 8-kilometer run. I'm giving a conditional here, if I feel energetic. This conditional is also an explanation, okay? And then, of course, I'm making sure I have that smooth example. So just yesterday, I went for a great run. Not for example. Native speaker wouldn't say for example. They would just say, just yesterday, I went for a good run, or they would say, yesterday morning, I went for a run. So just smoothly putting the example in there. Is everybody clear on this? Because this is what you need to do in order to aim for a Band 9 result, okay? So you need to have all of these elements, all right? fluency, grammatical range, lexical resource. Giving answers, explanation, example is the way to do that, and including both qualitative and quantitative information. Is this clear, everyone? What I'm saying here. Does anybody have questions at this point? Okay, so we'll stop here for just one moment, and if anybody has questions, tell me now. Okay, Gopi says, can I use memorized answers? Gopi, no, don't do that. If you use a memorized response and it sounds memorized, you will lose marks. Definitely you will not be aiming for a band 9. Okay, so Gopi, no memorized answers. Memorized answers will not help you. If the examiner identifies that it's a memorized answer, you're losing marks for sure. Okay, guaranteed. All right, I can see that a few people are like, okay, yeah, I got it. All right. Let's see. So Nguyen Tran, there's a good example. So Nguyen says, if I have spare time, I'll sleep. Sure, okay. That's a partial answer, Nguyen. So why will you sleep? Is it because you work long hours to make ends meet? Are you working from 6 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon and then studying from 5 until midnight? Is that why you need that sleep? So explain yourself. Okay, explanations are really important in good communication. And notice again that quantitative information. All right, very important. So Levinson is asking, what is the ideal amount of sentences? Well, it depends, because it depends, Levinson, on your sentence structure. So instead of thinking about ideal sentences, think about answer, explain, example. One good kind of point of reference, if you need to have a number, is like the amount of information that you can write in one comment on YouTube chat, which is roughly the same length as a text message. I believe it's 200 characters, okay? So to give a rough idea of an ideal answer length, think about a YouTube chat response of 200 characters. Okay, that's roughly how much you need, because in that amount you can express an answer, an explanation, and an example. Okay, so that's roughly what you need. All right, good question. Okay. All right, here we go, students. So next question, where do you work or go to school? So give me a nice answer for this one. Think about the strategies that I just told you, okay? And then I will give you feedback. Again, a lot of these techniques and strategies, and even many, many more, you can learn from our websites in our premium packages at ahelp.com and gieltshelp.com. So definitely check that out, and you can practice them for free there as well. Okay, so give me a nice full sentence answer for this one, because this again is a very common question. So where do you work or go to school? Give me an answer, explanation, and perhaps some form of an example. Okay, all right. And practice this. Practice these steps frequently. All right. Stuti says, I'm a student. I've just completed my 12th grade. And so you just graduated high school, Stuti, right? So I'm a student. I have just graduated high school. And for the last few days, I've been preparing for this IELTS exam for my higher studies abroad, because most foreign universities require this exam. Yeah, of course. Very good, Stuti. All right. Ace says, I study at School 47 named Progress, and this is one of the important schools in my country. I'm honored to study here. Okay, very good, Ace. So you're giving an explanation, right? One of the top schools in the country, 90% of graduates attend university. Very good. Okay. Neil Mehta says, I'm a student and I go to a local school at close proximity to my house. This is about a third of a kilometer from my home, and I walk there. Okay, Neil, good. I like your use of quantitative language. Great job, Neil. Good job, students, paying attention to those instructions that I'm giving you about quantitative language. Fantastic. Well done. Okay, nicely done. That's what you want to do. Lei, I see so you have something similar as well. I'm always trying to catch different students at different times so I can give all of you a little bit of feedback. Okay, Avi Studious says, well, I've just completed my secondary school education in medical stream. Now I wish to go abroad for my bachelor studies in medical sciences, right? If I'm reading that correctly, Avi, make sure you're using the right vocabulary, Avi. Okay, it's a little bit confusing. It's true that we have different vocabulary in US, Canada, UK for high school and for college, university. So it's a bit tricky, but you have to be careful, okay? All right, Surya says, I've recently completed my bachelor's degree in visual communication in Madras University, and I have been preparing IELTS for the past couple months. Why, Surya? Why are you doing IELTS? Are you looking to do a master's degree abroad, or is it for work or immigration? So that would be nice to include at the end of your response there, and I think it would just fit as well. Okay. Nadia says, I both work and study. I've worked as a visiting lecturer in Al-Amma Iqbal Open University campus in Rawalpindi, where I deliver lectures for management sciences and study IELTS from Adrian. Okay, Nadia, very good. All right, and I hope that I'm helping you succeed in your goals. Excellent. Farwa says, I recently graduated as a computer science engineer, and as I did my internship in a software house on a relevant position that I've always dreamt of, I'm a front-end developer now, and I've been enjoying it since. Okay, Farwa, careful with your grammar. A little bit awkward, a little bit tricky comprehension. All right? Okay, good. And so I'm both working as a language specialist for the past 20 years, and I've been studying for my British Council certified agent accreditation so that I can further help people around the world realize their study goals. Okay, so again, answer, explanation, example, quantitative language, and I'm using these warm-up icebreaker questions to remind me of this, okay? So here we go. Repeat after me. Oh, sorry, this is incorrect. I have to be very careful here, and this is where mistakes are often made. It's not do you work or go to school, it's where do you work or go to school, okay? So I have to really pay attention to that. Even though this seems like a good answer, I'm not answering the question specifically, and I will lose marks. I have to include location. So I'm both working as a language assessment specialist for the past 20 years from my offices in downtown Budapest and Victoria, British Columbia, and I've been studying for my British Council certified agent accreditation from my home office in my apartment, so that I can further help people around the world realize their study goals. Okay, now I have location included, and now I'm on the right track. Without that, I'd be in danger, because this question is asking about where do you work or go to school. So I'm both working as a language assessment specialist for the past 20 years from my offices in downtown Budapest and Victoria, British Columbia, And I've been studying for my British Council Certified Agent Accreditation from my home office in my apartment so that I can further help people around the world realize their study goals. And now I'm going to be aiming for that band 9. In fact, if I want to be even a bit more accurate, then I would mention the country here, okay? Because there is a Budapest in the US, interestingly. All right. So, so far so good, and of course the IELTS examiner will now continue with some more questions for part 1, some questions on a general topic. Here we go. So the examiner will say, okay, let's talk about volunteering. They have so many topics, so be ready for whatever. I mean, they'll sometimes say something really simple and strange, like let's talk about paper and computer, or pen and pencil, or they'll say let's talk about fruits and vegetables. And sometimes they'll say something like let's talk about volunteering. Volunteering is a very important part of a social life in many Western countries like the UK and Canada, so it's a hot topic. It's a good one to be able to talk about. Okay, and the first question here is, and again, answer, explain, and example, is do you do any volunteer work? I just have to close the chat here because people keep trying to chat with me. Sorry, just give me a second. Okay, on our website, other IELTS students. So here we go. Do you do any volunteer work? Give me a nice full sentence answer for this one. So yes, of course, is a good start, but you need more information. Okay? So if you do volunteer work, explain yourself. What kind of volunteer work do you do? Where do you do it? So add information. Okay? Clark Liu says, currently I'm employed by an international company. My office is located at the city center, where in the northern part of my hometown. Recently, due to the COVID, I'm working mostly from home. Yeah, the notorious COVID, absolutely. Clark, that makes sense, okay? All right. Ace says, not at the moment, but in another 3 to 5 years, I'll help people with their problems, because as one clever man said, if you help people, they will help you too when you are in a time of need. Ace, not bad. Students, be really careful. Don't use quotes. Don't quote other people, okay? So I do not recommend quoting other people, all right? So do not quote others, and be very careful with long idioms, okay? Students often make mistakes when they're quoting phrases from some famous people in history. So do unto others as you would have them do unto you, for example, or if you help those in need, they will return the favor when you are in your time of need. So these are very tricky expressions. There's very unique ways and vocabulary to express these clearly in English. So unless you're 120% sure that you know what you're doing with that phrase or that idiom, do not include it. They usually just come out awkwardly, they seem forced, and they will drop your score, okay, because your coherence will go down. Everybody clear on that? That's an important one. Some students lose points unnecessarily because they try to implement idioms and quotes that don't make sense. Okay, everybody got that? Don't do that, because it's not original and it's confusing. Okay, all right, everybody got that? Okay, Iqbal says, yes, got it. Okay, very good. Himanshu Gurjar says, I love doing volunteer work. I have related myself to a nonprofit NGO that helps students get quality education, poor students get quality education. It takes about 6 hours of my time each week, and I feel enlightened after doing that. Okay, Himanshu, not bad. I made a couple of corrections there. Pay attention to that. Agape says, yes, I'm volunteering in my local church by teaching English to elementary school students, which will in turn help them to improve my language also. And I'm also spending time with kids, so it's joyful. All right, very nice. Nice explanation. Good answer. Okay, that's what we're looking for. Careful with those corrections there, okay? Tanu says yes. I was doing volunteer work while I was studying in athletics, and our coaches said that it's a good idea for us to help people who are disabled. So at that time, I was giving my energy for free. Okay, Tania, good. I'm not sure what all those ... dots are. You need to fill in those blanks for me. I'm the examiner. I can't fill it in for you, okay? So be careful with that, all right? So, yes, I donate at least 5 to 6 hours of my time each week freely to teach English and IELTS to students around the world. I find this very rewarding, especially when I hear of my students' success stories. All right, stop there. Okay. So here we go. Repeat after me. Do you do any volunteer work? Yes, I donate at least 5 to 6 hours of my time each week freely to teach English and IELTS to students around the world. I find this very rewarding, especially when I hear of my students' success stories. Okay, so I have an answer and an explanation. Now, again, I could put an example in here. So I could say, just yesterday, I did 2 hours of streaming information for free. But here I'm just going to avoid that. I don't need to put a smooth example every time. One of the questions that students often ask is, how many examples should I include? Comfortably about 60 to 70% of the questions, you should try to put some sort of a real example in there. Okay, but you don't have to force it every time. The answer and the explanation are especially important. Okay, and again, notice the quantitative language, 5 to 6 hours. Okay, quantitative language makes communication much clearer. Okay, much clearer. All right. Now, notice this interesting technique that I'm using here, where volunteer work, instead of repeating volunteer work, I've defined it. Okay, there are many different ways to paraphrase information. One way to paraphrase, meaning to say the same ideas using different words, is to give a definition. What is the definition of volunteer work? Well, the definition of volunteer work is to give time freely, or to donate time freely, or energy and time freely, in order to assist and help others around us. Or nature, for example, you can volunteer to plant trees. Okay, so there's many different ways of volunteering, and you can define that. So yes, I donate at least 5 to 6 hours of my time each week freely to teach English and IELTS to students around the world. Okay. All right, so think about that. Think about descriptively paraphrasing the parts of questions. Okay. Gopi is asking, sir, can I use linking words like firstly, secondly while speaking? Gopi, you don't need to use the stop emoji. I can catch questions anyway. It's kind of awkward. Only if it's meaningful. Okay, Gopi. So again, I wouldn't just start saying, firstly, I donate at least. That would be kind of weird. So it's out of context here. It's good to use linking words and conjunctions, but only naturally and in context. Any English that seems forced or unnatural is bringing down your score. Okay? All right. So here's the next question. Is it common to do volunteer work in your country? So is it common to do volunteer work in your country? Give me a full sentence answer. So I'm going to give an answer and then I'll look at your answers, okay? So yes. All right. So let's see what you have. Okay, Bijay says, yes, it is very natural to do volunteer work in my nation. People around here are very generous and try to help as many people as they can in need, like orphans and the disabled. Okay, Bijay, Kanal, that's fantastic. Do let me know what country it is. Okay, always be specific with the information. I'm guessing India from maybe your name, but it could be Nepal or somewhere else. So always include the country. Just from your name, it's tough to guess, okay? Abdul Rahman says, yes, it's currently a good habit in my country of Pakistan to do volunteer work, as I worked at a multinational company for Swedish in electrical engineering, and I mostly helped my colleagues in their work. Okay, Abdul, good start. The example's a little bit unclear, so work on that, all right? Jainil says, yes, it is normal to perform volunteer work by Indian people because everyone is taught great rituals of helping others by their ancestors. According to TOI in 2029, 500,000 organizations have, okay, Jainil, good. I can't see the rest of it, but definitely you're on the right track there, okay? All right. Pachu, good to see you in the class. Pachu says, well, I do not think it's too common to do volunteer work in my country, as many people have some problems of survival and they do not have time to devote freely to helping others. However, a few people do invest their time to distribute food items when disaster happens. Okay, Pachu, very good. Include the country, right? Okay. Alex, Joseph says, well, it's not so common in my country, the Kingdom of Bahrain, because people are busy with their life and they are very generous and often spend money rather than giving their time to helping the poor. Okay, Alex, good. So you made the very important distinction between charitable donations and volunteering, right? Okay, great. Great answer. Made a few corrections near the end. Pay attention to those. Sandeep says, yes, I think that people in India are interested to participate in volunteering depending on the type of work. Mostly they engage in private companies' volunteer work rather than government activity. Okay, Sandeep, very good. So here's my answer. Is it common to do volunteer work in your country? Yes, many Canadians frequently volunteer in one form or another throughout their lives. Canadians are very proud of doing volunteer work, and it is often expected as part of job descriptions and school curricula. Here's a little hint on topic, okay? A little hint for those of you who are planning to go to Canada to study or to work or to live. Having volunteer work in your resume or on your CV, okay, so planting trees, picking up garbage, helping the elderly, assisting children, for example, as one student said, to teach them English, that is looked upon very, very favorably on application forms in Canada. So Canadian immigration, Canadian universities, institutions love to see volunteer work experience on application forms. They love to see that. So that's a big hint. If you're going to Canada and you don't have any volunteer work, I strongly suggest consider doing at least a few weeks, okay? 1 or 2 hours is not going to be enough. They're going to be looking for like at least, several weeks, several hours, maybe 100 hours of volunteer work, okay? That will definitely be a benefit or a positive for your application process, okay? Everybody clear on that? Yeah, everybody's like, okay, I got it, all right? And you can't cheat on that because they will ask for your reference, and oftentimes they will follow up. So they'll check, they'll call the organization, and they'll say, hey, did this person volunteer for you, and how was that? Okay, all right? So Canadians don't kid around. They will check your references, all right? It's another important hint. Canadian institutions don't just look at your references and say whatever, but they will check them. They will call them. They will email them. All right. So here we go. Next question. Again, try to give me a nice full sentence answer for this. Include the important components of lexical resource grammar. Is volunteer work rewarding? Why or why not? It's kind of a rhetorical question. Go ahead and answer this one. So is volunteer work rewarding? Why or why not? Okay, let's see what you have for this one. All right. Arda says, a person cannot earn money from volunteer work because volunteer workers do that for free, but they can definitely earn some self-confidence and inner beauty, and that's better than earning money in my opinion. Very good, Arda. Notice my correction, Arda. I took out all of the yous, okay? Don't use the word you, okay? Don't speak directly to your examiner. You. Okay, maybe if you're speaking to me, I'll be like, I love money, right? I won't, but I could, okay? So don't speak directly to your examiner in second person voice, but use third person voice. So people, okay? Myself, first person, third person, not second person, okay? All right. So Aju says, yes, although doing volunteer work is without pay, it does create a rewarding feeling after contributing to helping others being healthy or cleaning up the environment, making it beautiful and green. Okay, Aju, not bad. I got your idea. You had a few kind of awkward wording or word forms there and grammatical forms, but I made some corrections to it, so check that out, okay? All right, the best way to volunteer is to share a person's experience and knowledge so that others who may not be educated in that information can leverage that experience and benefit from the same. Okay, that's a little bit off topic because this is asking for, is it rewarding? Okay, all right. Ozoda says, absolutely, volunteer work is rewarding. One of the reasons behind this is that volunteer work makes people feel powerful and gives a sense of blissful joy or happiness. Okay, blissful joy or blissful happiness. Alejandro says, my biggest enemy ever since day one, when one of my biggest enemies, okay, I still don't get where you're going there, Alejandro. You want to maybe think that one through, okay? Pop means dad. Not sure where you're going there. Okay. Abdul says, yes, it is a good habit in my country of Pakistan to do volunteer work. However, as my country is still quite in development, we are not able to be as rewarded, but itself as a person builds self-esteem and happiness. Okay, watch your grammar, Abdul. You're on the right track otherwise, okay? All right, I saw one good one here. Okay, Philip Smart says, yes, I think giving out time freely to carry out free work is very rewarding. Although as a Christian, I do believe whatsoever I do, at least for my brethren, that I do it for myself as well. And from this, I experience a sense of inner peace. Okay, Philip, good. I love how you're really pushing hard to paraphrase. It's nice, okay? So is volunteer work rewarding? Yes, I definitely believe that giving time freely to help others or the environment is extremely gratifying. Okay, there's another kind of synonym for rewarding. Rewarding, gratifying. Okay, gratifying because the end results are usually very positive, such as helping an injured child to walk again, or restoring a forest to its former beauty. Okay. So here we go. Repeat after me. Is volunteer work rewarding? Why or why not? Yes, I definitely believe that giving time freely to help others or the environment is extremely gratifying because the end results are usually very positive, such as helping an injured child to walk again or restoring a forest to its former beauty. Okay. So here's my answer. Notice an interesting technique I'm using here. So here I mentioned 2 points of volunteering. One is to help others, and the other, so helping others, and the second is helping the environment. And then when I think of my smooth examples, I quickly just thought of maybe assisting a child to regain their ability to walk and restoring a forest, so planting trees to look the way that it did in the past. Okay, so giving an example, a smooth example for each of the points that I included, helping others and helping the environment. Okay, so keep that strategy in mind also. Okay, here we have a couple more questions. What do you think is the best way for a person to give their time? And has anyone volunteered to help you in any way? I will leave these last 2 questions for you to study at home with partners or on our websites. Remember, you have that free speaking practice with other students with video and audio chat at aehelp.com and glshelp.com. And again, if you like this lesson and you want some HD videos with strategies and tips for all parts of the IELTS, visit us at aehelp.com where you can click that big red button to join our premium package, or glshelp.com with the green background for general IELTS and click that big red button to join us there. That's it for me for today, but worry not. I will be back tomorrow with some reading for our members and listening part 1 and 2, practice and strategy for everyone. Lots and lots of people in today's class. That's fantastic. It was really great to have all of you. Honey, you're very, very welcome. Jaineel, bye-bye to you as well. Okay. And again, hopefully I'll see you all tomorrow for tomorrow's class. Until then, good studies. If it's late in your country, sweet dreams. And much love to all of you. You're all beautiful people. Stay smart, stay healthy, stay opportunistic and optimistic. Bye for now.